Hello and welcome to the RM show. I'm your host Ricky, and we're joined today to speak about the Six Nations. A couple of weeks off yet, but we're just getting it in early. So how are we, boys?
I'm good, thanks, Rick.
Good, cheers, Rick. Us.
Good, that's what I like to see. I wore my Lions top because I thought Connor will be in Scotland, Dazzy will be in Wales, I'll go neutral. But no, didn't happen. Didn't happen. At least you got some form of Scottish on, Con.
Yeah, that's it. Losing sadly though.
Getting battered. Yeah, good. I'm glad you're both good anyway. First of all, before we talk about the preview then, good news this week then from both Scotland and Wales that fans are going to be allowed in the stadium for the Six Nations games.
Definitely. I think the pressure would have been huge on Mr. Drakeford if it got to the point where it looked like it wasn't going to be relaxed in time for the Six Nations. So yeah, very good news.
Same up in Murrayfield as well, Con. Obviously, especially with England up first.
Well, yeah, I think when they were circulating this idea about playing the whole tournament in one country, that country obviously being England with the lower restrictions, I don't think Scotland fans would have been very happy. But beat English at Twickenham last time, so maybe it'd be a good luck charm.
True, that is true. Yeah, but no, thankfully, common sense has prevailed, and we're going to have crowds there. So that's good. That's good for us. So yeah, let's get into the Six Nations nitty gritty then. Obviously, we say there'll be 6 teams vying for it, but probably 5. So yeah. Well, let's start with the minnows then. And let's start with Italy. Who's going to be, Dazzy, I'll start with you, mate. Who's going to be their star player? And is there anyone that you've noticed watching rugby this season who's going to come out of nowhere?
For Italy, I haven't noticed anyone who's going to come out of nowhere, but I like Ioane, the winger. He's good. Good try scorer, just sniffs a chance. Good player, very good player. I think he's one of the only ones who, would have a sniff at getting in some of the other teams, in the first 15. There's not many, but he'd have a chance. And Garbisi, again, young, but seems to be pretty good at outside half. Still a bit raw, I think, but he's a good player. Ioane would be their star for me. I don't know if Pelledri's fit. Is Pelledri fit or is he injured? Because he's a good player in the back row, but not sure if he's fit. Because he's good. He's fit, yeah, bro.
Last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
He went out. I won the auto. I think it was the Six Nations last year, wasn't it? So
yeah.
I don't think he even got to play at all.
No, he was out for the whole of last year, was he? Oh, okay. Well, we'd hope he'd be back then, but who knows? Yeah, from the pack, I was going to say to you, Connor, obviously you've got Pelledri, but you got Negri as well. We're going to see some usual Italian front 8 power.
I don't know if they've really had power the past couple of years, and I'm missing something there. I know I was watching, a Squidge video, and he was making a big deal about Michele Lamaro. Reckons that he's going to be one of those kind of players that young boy he's got the passion there as well. Could be the kind of the new Sergio Parisse, as it were. So I think I'm probably going to pay more attention to them. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the midfield, because I think that Garbisi and Ioane, like you already talked about, Dazzy, but at least missing those kind of link players to either get some go forward or to manage to just get the ball out to the wing. So I'm kind of looking to maybe see some improvement there from the kind of the younger centres from Italy. But besides that, I think, yeah, you're looking for signs of improvement with Italy. You're not looking for scalps, really, are you?
Biggest thing for me, you just both touched on it, is the lack of forward dominance. But back in the day, they used to be a bit clueless behind, but they had a good pack and they could just basically match anybody up front. But they seem to have lost that a bit now, especially in the Type 5. So I'd be looking for, can they rebuild that? Are they going to be competitive at scrum time? Or are they just going to be, if they're not, then they've got nothing, I don't think. I mean, Notzi's another player who's decent in the back 3. But again, and like the centres you were talking about, Connor, they need to bring someone in. But it's just the pack for me. Can the front 5 match the other teams? If they can't, then they just slam dunk last, I'm afraid.
one of the things that could make a difference for them this year, and obviously it's kind of putting a lot of hopes on one player, but Marco Riccioni transferred from Benetton to Saracens last season. So if you've got someone going into, like, obviously like kind of Pelledri, Minozzi, we've talked about, like they obviously play for Bath, kind of big players when they're fit for Italy. Riccioni's made himself a big player for his former Benetton, so if he can bring that kind of Sarri's winning culture into the Italy setup, then that could be something that really helps their forward pack. And you can't really fault who he's going to be learning off of in the form like Jamie George, etc.
True. Yeah, I forgot about Minozzi. Obviously, yeah, opted out last year, didn't he? But I'm sure he'll be back this year. But yeah, he's a very skillful player out there. So I'm assuming you're both saying then Italy are going to be sixth.
I hope so,
Yeah.
because if they're not sixth, it's usually Scotland that they've beat.
True. All right, we'll allow that then. Yeah, we'll get from them. So sixth place for the Italians. What about the French then, Con? Obviously, last season, arguably they were the best team in the world. Is their form continued this year, and do you see them again being the team to beat?
I think that the biggest game of the entire tournament arguably is going to be France versus Ireland, just because like they're the two giant killers of the autumn. I think that France have no reason not to carry on that buoyancy, and they've got a lot of young boys coming through who are just growing and growing on that international stage. So I think that it could be it could be France's year, but yeah, just so long as they keep it going. But as long as they've got Untimac and Dupont there, Audrey at 8 as well, like you've got a strong spine to build the rest of the team off of.
Yeah, Dazzy, obviously he mentioned that 8, 9, 10, and obviously they've been playing Jalabert in at centre as well to give them that other option. But an exciting team. Obviously, we remember the Wales-France game last season, and as Connor said in the autumn, some great performances against the All Blacks. So the French are they ready, with the World Cup in a year's time as well?
Yeah, I agree with Connor about the France-Ireland game. That's pivotal, I think. Obviously, France will beat Italy first up. I'd be amazed if they don't. Ireland, Wales, we'll talk about that in a bit. But if Ireland beat us, then it is that second game, France-Ireland's huge. They look great against the All Blacks in that Super Saturday, the last game of the day of the Northern Hemisphere victories, as we want to call it. But yeah, 8, 9, 10. Olivon, is he back? He didn't play against the All Blacks when France beat them. I don't know because he's a beast as well. He's still out. That's a shame for him. But they got so much talent. Penno's back in there on the wing as well, causing havoc. And Tamak back in again, causing havoc. Him and Dupont. And like you say, Audrey, half Scottish, Connor. I'm glad to see you got that one in there. But and they just look beasting up front. They got props they can bring on. They're looking very, very good. Yeah, I do. I make them the favourites, but I do agree that Ireland's second up is huge.
Yeah, but you'd have to say they're the favourites when you just on their form the last 2 seasons. But they've always got a prop who likes to land a right hand if he gets in trouble. So interesting to see about their discipline up front as usual with the French. But no, fantastic rugby team. I kind of agree. I think they're the favourites going in, and yeah. They play well and they keep everyone fit. Yeah, definitely going to be the team to beat in the Six Nations, and I'm glad they're coming to us this year instead like last year as well. So yeah, good team, the French. Like I say, favourites. On to the English then. Everyone's favourites. Bit hit and miss for the last obviously season. Excuse Dazzy last year was obviously what was happening at Saracens. They don't have that excuse this year. Do you expect them to bounce back?
They're a bit of an enigma for me. I'm looking at their team and they've got some stars like Atoje. I love Tom Curry. I think he's great wherever he plays. Probably 6 is his best position, but he can play 6, 7, 8 brilliantly at Underhill as well, if he's fit as well alongside him. They got some cracking players, but I don't know. They beat South Africa in the autumn, which was a good victory, but I don't think they were massively convincing. I think they've got Scotland away. The first up is massive for them. If they can get a win there, I think they've got an excellent chance in this tournament. And they've got Ireland 4th at Twickenham. So that'll be a big game then. for them, if they get a good start at Murrayfield, then I think they've got a good chance of doing well in the tournament. But if they lose to Scotland, then yeah, it could end up being like a poor tournament for them. It's sort of feast or famine. So yeah, I'd like to see a bit more game time for Marcus Smith after the autumn, whether he plays, starts at 10 or not, and Farrell at 12, or whether they start Farrell at 10 and have Marcus Smith on the bench. I'm not sure. Connor might have some more intel on that. It's closer to the English Premiership game. But yeah, bit of an enigma. And that first game is important. I don't see them winning the tournament, but, because they got France in Paris last up as well. But yeah, that first game I think is crucial to see whether they have a good tournament or an average tournament.
Yeah, obviously, Connor, is Farrell back? I know he was out for 12 weeks, wasn't he? Is he going to be back for the Scotland game?
I think there's been positive news. I think he might be back for it. I don't think I've seen anything solid. But yeah, like I say, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with selection, given how good Smith has been in an England shirt and a Lions shirt, compared to Farrell. Obviously he's had a bit of a slump in form lately, and some of that can be attributed to the Sarries kind of situation. But I think behind all those old names, the thing that's exciting about England is the young guys. There's a lot of young talent that's coming through, and I think that in many ways the new England kind of generation of rugby players aren't as held down, or not held down, but they don't fall victim to the same things that make the other home nations view them as the worst team in the world. I think that I know they've got something. They don't play Jones's style of rugby naturally. Dombrant is your perfect example. I've watched them playing with Marcus Smith at Quins quite a bit last season and a wee bit this season. That man is why he's not been starting for England ever since his first cap. I do not know, but he plays really good instinctive rugby. So I think if Jones can bring that out of them, I think England can win this tournament with that team.
Do you think they'll play players like Liner? Do you think players like him, he'll get a chance as well? Or is it?
Hope not. But I think the depth that they have at wing at the moment, I don't think there's really any need for Liner. If you've got Adam Radwan, who everyone's just now kind of accepting as faster than Johnny May. Ollie Hassel-Collins is another one at London Irish. You still got Johnny May as well. There's so many. I don't know if Liner and his finishing ability is going to be enough to get him in. The only thing that would kind of get him through further would be the fact that he has really good cohesion with other players on the pitch if it's a Quins dominated team, I would think. I think Australia will come second though.
Yeah, we know with England they've got such a big pool of players to choose from, haven't they? So it's you're bound to see a few surprises with Eddie Jones. He always springs someone into there, but yeah, they're a good, strong team. Strong pack, as you say. Maybe Farrell does come back. There's still going to be questions about whether he should be captaining the team, I'm sure. But yeah, going to be interesting. But as you said, that big game at Murrayfield, Scotland, England. Both teams really, you could say, whoever comes out of that have got a good shot at it. So moving on to Ireland, then you guys have briefly mentioned about it. Connor, you obviously like what you're seeing from the Irish. Where's their big strength?
I would say it's their forwards. At the moment, I think just the Irish back row is about as disgusting as the Welsh back row used to be. That kind of when you were struggling to try and fit Sam Warburton and Justin Tipperick on the same team sheet. I think that they've got a glut of depth. I think that after beating the All Blacks, their profile has risen. I still kind of feel that people are sleeping on Ireland a little bit though. So I think they're going to have a really strong tournament, and I'm worried about what that means for everyone else. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see the role Sexton plays. It'll be interesting to see who kind of deputises him this season, because there's not been a great deal of consistency. It seems to be Billy Burns, but then it goes back to Ross Byrne, and Ross Byrne is used to playing second fiddle with Johnny Sexton, but that's not going to develop him as an international 10 if no matter where he is, he's always in the shadow of one of the best 10s to ever wear an Irish like jersey, you know. So I think that there's development in the younger players that have already come through and kind of looking to see where the pathway is going to be with them. But I think that Ireland are going to finish strong.
Yeah, no, true. Dazzy, obviously, you know, the star of that All Black crazy game, even though there were many, was obviously the Kiwi James Lowe. You know, he's really come on since he's gone into that Ireland team, into an exciting backline as well. Like you say, Conor mentions the forwards, but a very good backline there in the Irish half.
Yeah, quite a few Kiwis in there. Gibson Park, if he starts, and James Lowe and Bundy Aki, all Kiwis, but all very good. And, you know, they're very, very good. They're such a solid team all over, really. They got cracking forwards. Tyke Furlong's an absolute star. I'm not sure I'd pick anyone above him at tight head prop in the world. And yeah, Conan, since the Lions tour, has come right on as well at number 8. Really impressive the way he broke through in the Lions tour. And yeah, they just did a great job against the All Blacks. Their backline, they looks like with Keenan, they found a bit of a, you know, who would ever replace Rob Kearney. He's doing a decent job there as well. So they're solving their problems. I don't know whether like the depth that Conor talked about. Like I've looked at the All Blacks team, the game. Obviously, Tyke Byrne was on the bench. Peter O'Mahony was on the bench. They had Caelan Doris and Van der Fleer in on the flank instead. Lots of good depth. Excellent chance of doing well in the tournament. But going back to the second game and obviously France v Ireland, they've also got England away as well. So they've got a couple of tough games there to overcome to win the tournament. But they've got such brilliant strength. They've not really got any weaknesses. James Lowe as well, you point him out. He used to be big, strong, but like couldn't really kick very well, and maybe his defense had let him down. But he's just got it all now. He's fantastic. What a great player. So and rises to the big occasion. So excellent chance, Ireland. They're definitely one of the favourites. But that second game, keep coming back to it. And that's if they get past us in game 1, of course. But if they do that, then that second game is huge.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like I said, they got a very tough start, the Irish. But yeah, fantastic team all around. You know, always good to watch. Like I say, a load of players who always turn up for the big occasions. And yeah, let's see where they go now, going in the Six Nations. But they definitely, like I say, that game 2 of France could be key for this Six Nations. We'll go to Scotland next then. I'll leave you think about it, Conor. I'll go to Dazzy first. The Scots, you know, most improved, I would say, the last 2 years out of any of the teams in the Six Nations. Sometimes look brilliant. So what do you think? Do you think if they get a good start, like Conor said, against England, they can make a play for the tournament?
Well, they've got England at home, Wales away, France at home. So, I mean, yeah, that first game is massive. If Scotland beat England, they'll have loads of confidence coming to Cardiff, especially if, like, you know, the chances are Ireland are going to beat us in game 1. I hate to say it, but there'll be lots of confidence there. I think they've had an excellent couple of years. Sometimes run a bit hot and cold, but yeah, Finn Russell running the show. Love Hamish Watson, just a big slab of meat. Fantastic player. Even the players like Conor could talk more to it, but Schumann, the prop, he looks really just big and solid in that front row, holding it up nicely. Sahoggy's still there, Darcy Graham exciting. Van der Merwe's had a hell of an 18 months, even though he can sometimes play the villain. He's had an absolutely brilliant 18 months as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, a good chance. If they can beat England first up, very, very important. They're probably going to that second favourite slightly. I would have the bookies would probably have England favourites, but not by a great deal, I don't think. I think it'll be very close in the betting. They got a good chance. I mean, I will ask, what's happened to Cameron Redpath? Is he still around? I mean, when I watched him at Twickenham, was it last year? He's phenomenal, like what in the centre. And I haven't seen him since. I don't know what's going on.
Same injury. I think that he's made his. I think he's made a return from injury now for Bath, but yeah, he's been out for like a year. He's at a club that just aren't going forward. Like they managed to beat Worcester, and it was like widely celebrated. So yeah, I don't know what his chances are of featuring in this tournament, but I hope he makes a return soon, comes back in, because like you say, he was absolutely phenomenal last year against England. But I think that people kind of forgot last year after that England game that how phenomenal Sam Johnson is as a 12. The only reason that he's not a more consistent selection is he can kind of fall prey to injury. But we now have Sione Tuipulotu that the Warriors brought in, and he's a big destructive ball carrier. But he's got some nice moves on him as well. So he went off injured against the Chiefs there. But yeah, like we're developing some depth. So I think that, and especially after last year's game, like beating England and Twickenham for the first time in however long it was, it was like there's a lot more confidence, and it's like obviously we beat Wales away, we've beat France away. Like we ended France's Grand Slam hopes last year. If we'd got 3 more points against the Irish and 2 more points against Wales, we would have been Grand Slam champions. Yeah, like it kind of feels like something's finally starting to come through from what we've been building the past couple of years. Massive year for us, I think, because I think there's a core group that are all hitting that kind of late 20s, kind of 30, 31, like hitting their prime in rugby, in kind of rugby terms. So I don't like to play Scotland anywhere, but if we can get a good start, I want to beat the Irish. I want to beat the Irish away. That's what I want to do. We'll beat everyone else. I want to beat the Irish this year. That's my goal as a Scotland fan.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, you're great to watch. I love watching you play rugby. But yeah, always just sometimes on the wrong side of a decision, as we see last year. But yeah, definitely an improvement the last 2 years on what we've seen. And yeah, like I say, similar to what with ourselves, you get a bit of confidence from that first game, and you're a team that can go far against anyone. So yeah, a bit more consistency maybe, and finishing off games, as you said, because you only lost them games by a couple of points. And then who knows? We could be talking about Scotland lifting a trophy at the end of the season. But
I would
yeah,
try.
who knows? Who knows? Hey,
Jamie Ritchie celebrations as well. You've got to love Jamie Ritchie celebrations. I like to think he's at home and I don't know, he gets 3 roast potatoes instead of 2 on his dinner. And he's just going, yes, just giving it large for anything because he loves it. Whatever it is, any penalty, the bloke loves a celebration. And he's a good player as well. He complements that back row fantastically well.
Yeah, agreed. I think like 8 is maybe the one where like before last year I had some worries, but I think that Matt Ferguson stepped up a lot. I think he's kind of made the 8 jersey his. I think this season he needs to firm it up because he kind of still needs to see off a challenge from Nick Haining and maybe Blade Thompson coming back. But I think he's put himself like firmly in front, and he was showing a really good all-round game last season. So I hope he continues that as well.
Yeah, he is a very good player. Okay, well, last but not least, then let's speak about the Welsh. Conor, come to you first, mate. Then, so we all know with Wales, whenever you look at when they've done well, it's because it's all to do with winning that first game and building on it. But like we say, it's a tough game this time against Ireland to start off. One of our 2 home games, so it's a must-win, really. What do you think?
I don't know, but I get like this kind of feeling that, and it suits Wales down the ground. Jonathan Davis has already been in the paper saying, "Oh yeah, it's going to be terrible for us. Like, oh, it's going to be really bad." Wales love being an underdog. No one is talking about Wales. No one, like, they're Grand Slam champions. Like, people like it seems to be acknowledged, but kind of then like brushed to the side because France and Ireland beat the All Blacks. Like, it wasn't a great game, obviously, but I think Wales done pretty good against the All Blacks with like a B or a C side. Like, I think Wales has earned more respect than a lot of people, like in the media, are giving them, and I think that Wales can still win this tournament. and it's maybe more of a kind of building time, and I think that works well for Pivac because you can see that his expansive attacking game is starting to come in. The thing he really needs to do is have his 10. Bigger's not going to be his 10. Bigger is Gatlin's 10 through and through. He's going to struggle to not play Gatlin's game. Pivac needs to find a 10 who can play his game and properly unlock that side, because I think that's the thing that's missing. But I think much like Scotland, like maybe an outside chance of like winning, but I think Wales can do it. There's going to be some old names missing. There's going to be new faces, but I think that like the signs from the autumn, I think, are more positive than Wales are being given credit for.
Obviously, when we're thinking about the autumn series, it was really about the emergence. Obviously, Wainwright emerged in the World Cup. We had a fantastic autumn until he got injured. Basham's been put into the scene since the summer, and he's come on strong. Looks brilliant for club and country. So, again, as Connor said, it's more about these young guys who've come in, taking the chance, and maybe bringing the older guys' level back up again.
Yeah, Tame Basham's been brilliant the last 12 months. He's just smashing everyone up. He's like a similar version of Hamish Watson. It's similar, you know, they're not exactly the same, but very similar players. And yeah, cracking. At one time we had an old Dragons back row in there, which was, you know, quite nice to see for once. But yeah, we've got like, it was very important to beat Australia. It's always feast or famine in Welsh rugby. We're Six Nations champions, nearly won a Grand Slam, snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, which is very painful. But then in the autumn, it was all going wrong. And then we beat Australia. I think we struggled to beat Australia, but we did it, even with a man advantage for God knows how long, which we seem to be making a bit of a trademark of ours over the last year or so, having a man advantage. It's nice. Let's keep it continuing, I think. But it's been great to see some of the back row. Ellis Jenkins back in the back row. Great to see him back after his massive injury problems. He's just got captain written all over him. It's great to see him back. Hopefully he stays fit. When I look at our team, we've got some really good players in there. And if you look at Liam Williams, Lewis Rees-Zammit on the one wing, Josh Adams on the other wing, cracking, you know. And I think if we can, the front, our pack can hold it up as well. If I think Tom Francis is quite important on the tight head. We seem to struggle a bit at scrum time without him there. I never thought I'd say that, but he's pretty important now. I think it is a tough start though, really tough start away to Ireland. I've had some bad memories of away to Ireland over the years, you know, a couple of good ones in there as well on Grand Slam years, but it's going to be a very tough start. I think, yeah, you're right, all about momentum. If we get that start, then you look at Scotland at home in the second game and think, yeah, that's winnable. If you lose, then you look at that Scotland game and think, oh, they beat us last year, that, you know, whatever. But well, they have beaten us, I should say. It's tough for us. I think we've got the players. We haven't talked about like the disruption around COVID as well, and the postponement of games, and I don't know. It just feels like that's going to have an impact as well on some of the form and fitness. I hear Falatau's not far off, but he hasn't played any rugby, so it's, you know, you don't really throw him in, really. I don't suppose. Christ Shinuza, if I'm going to pick one, I want to see more of him in this Six Nations. And, you know, I think he seems like a very talented young man, a lot of potential. I'd like to see more of him. I'd like to see Tame Basham just tear it up and Ellis Jenkins get a lot of time on the pitch as well. So I'll be positive. I think we've got a chance, but that first game is a very, very tough start.
Yeah.
What 10s do you reckon Pivac selects?
It's a good question.
Him, because you know that he likes him, but not for me.
What about Priestland? Priestland came off the bench, didn't he, against kicked the winning penalty. Iman Anscombe, Priestland's 34 or something, 34, 35, he's getting on a bit. Not the future. I'm not sure who is the future. Jared Evans, maybe. Callum Sheedy. How's Callum Sheedy been doing this year? Not too great, haven't they? Bristol have been struggling, haven't they, I think? And he's
been playing very lateral from what I've seen. I don't know if he's fixed it yet, but yeah, just putting his own backline under pressure, and he was doing it for Wales as well. I think he's just kind of second season syndrome.
Bit of a problem position for us. It's a shame, really, because it's quite an important position. But Yeah.
a lot of depth there as well is a crazy thing. It's just like kind of everyone's hitting a bit of shaky form around the same time. Anscombe get done by Sione Tuipulotu against Glasgow last week. Like he went for like a kind of just a wrap tackle, kind of thinking he was going to be a dummy runner, and he wasn't. And Tuipulotu was just like, excuse me, like beat another two or three defenders or something, scored the try on the sticks. Like, not good look for the man.
No, well, that's it. You know, I think Biggo starts just because there's nothing behind him. But for now, anyway, like I say, building to the World Cup and stuff. Obviously, is not great with only a year to go. But yeah, we'll have to see. Like you say, the big strong second row. We could end up with over 100 caps. He's that young if he does get in there, because there's not a lot else apart from Alan Wynne-Jones there. So yeah, no, we'll have to see. But yeah, I think we'll do okay. I can see us finishing either third or fourth, though. I don't think that that we're going to do it this year, just because I was at that Australia game, and one of the worst games of rugby I've ever seen. It was shocking that we couldn't put away an Australian team with 14 men, and we just didn't have any clue what to do on the ball. So it's like we kind of played to win by 1 point from minute 6 or whenever it was the guy got sent off. So yeah, not great. And that's why I don't think we'll win it. If we're taking that form in, as Dazzy said, a lot of cancellations because of COVID as well. I don't see it for the Welsh this year. But who knows? I hope I'm proved wrong in our first game going to Ireland. But yeah, I'm not holding much hope at the moment. All right, guys. Well, we've managed to take it up to nearly the end of the video. It was quite impressive. But yeah, thank you for being part of it. Like I said, if the little one doesn't come too early, or I'm hoping that she will be here by the time the Six Nations kicks off. But if she's good, then maybe we'll get a video done during the Six Nations itself. But I'm sure we'll be talking with each other through it all anyway, especially that Wales-Scotland game. I'm sure there'll be a bit of banter both ways, whichever way it goes.
Is it third or fourth week?
What's that mean?
Is it
Two.
the second
week.
second fixture? Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
So yeah, no, it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. It'll be great to have some rugby, and as we said at the start of the video, fantastic that it's going to be in front of fans. So yeah, like I said, thank you for your time. For the viewers, obviously, follow us on YouTube. Look for us on our social media channels as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you get notifications every time something goes on there. So until next time, guys, I'll catch up with you soon, and take care of yourselves.
Take care.
Thanks, Ryan.